Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about the now infamous reporter and conservative activist Laura Loomer. She was recently banned from Twitter for being a right-winger, and that rhymes, so I think it sounds like a zinger. Laura Loomer was punished for her willingness to criticize the new Congresswoman-elect Ilhan Omar, a Democrat and a Muslim. Loomer didn't take this banning lying down though. As many saw online last week, Laura went on to make an interesting statement when she decided to protest Twitter last Thursday. Loomer went to the Twitter headquarters in New York City, handcuffing herself to the building, even bringing a megaphone and some billboards, with pictures of much worse tweets that did not get others banned, because of course they were liberal like Twitter. And this whole protest may have turned into a shit show too, and Laura may have gone a bit too far when she chose to wear a yellow star, like what the Jews once wore during the Nazi invasions of World War II. But there's one thing you have to admit about this situation. Laura Loomer certainly exposed Twitter's liberal bias. Many of us knew this before, sure, but now the whole world is taking notice. We're going to talk about this story extensively today too, and more, going over all the implications, Twitter's failings, and why the hell they would want to censor everyone anyway. All this fun stuff to talk about today, and more. But first, let's take a moment to hear from our loyal sponsors, Virtual Shield. Have you heard the latest story about Dell? The Texas-based computer company recently alerted customers about a potential cybersecurity incident. Now, they're not sure if customer information was removed from their network or not, but geez, that sounds scary. I have a Dell myself, so when I heard about this little snafu, I went directly to the most trusted name in online security, Virtual Shield. They're the only company I trust with handling my computer security and privacy. Virtual Shield's premium and affordable VPN service is known around the world, not only for protecting your identity online, but also for keeping your data private and secure. And there's also the added bonus of using their virtual private network to access censored or region-specific content, much like some of the banned stuff we're talking about today. Well done, Virtual Shield. And this Christmas, the company is offering 35% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, residential access, monthly maintenance, phone support, and VIP performance plans, all for as low as $3 per month. And don't forget about IdentiSafe, their newest feature, which allows the customer the ability to block off a computer's microphone and camera access, so unwanted spies and hackers can't check you out. So for anyone that is paranoid about the government watching or listening to your every move, everything you do on the computer, well, Virtual Shield is here for you. Check out their website below, link in the description underneath this video. Thanks for your time, and now on to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the Laura Loomer story. Before we get to the recent drama where she handcuffed herself to Twitter though, first let's talk about why she was there in the first place. Loomer was banned about a week prior, but for what cause? And I also want to eventually get to a lot of other questions about this too. I mean, why are these websites banning people anyway? Regardless, they clearly are. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. All the major social media sites have been guilty of this in one way or another. And I'm here today to ask why. But let's get back to why Laura Loomer was banned from Twitter first. And then she was also banned from Facebook shortly after. Let's not forget. Loomer was banned for criticizing Ilhan Omar. That much is certain. Dozens of articles about this story all talk about that, and they summarize it as Loomer attacking Omar for being anti-Jewish and saying her religion is anti-homosexuals and women, essentially. And this recap is all well and good, but me, I don't trust reporters very much, and I like to actually take a look at the tweet in question. Unfortunately, it is rather hard to find specifically. Loomer is banned, and her history was wiped away with it online too. There are a few pictures going around though, including one of Laura holding the tweet herself at her protest. Here's what the tweet said. Isn't it ironic how the Twitter moment used to celebrate women, LGBTQ, and minorities is a picture of Ilhan Omar. Ilhan is pro-Sharia. Ilhan is pro-FGM. Under Sharia, homosexuals are oppressed and killed. Women are abused and forced to wear the hijab. Ilhan is anti-Jewish. That's it. Now, without even getting into the tweet's accuracy, validity, or appropriateness, let's first just simply ask, should saying something like this get you banned from a platform for life and have your complete history deleted? I mean, me myself, I'm not even sure if I think people should be banned at all. And what's with the need to delete all of our history too? I don't see why we can't leave banned accounts up, unless there's something to hide. In this case, I think there is something to hide. I think the social media companies are hiding their biased, unfair, un-American banning and censorship practices. Loomer shouldn't be banned for saying something like this. No one should. Unless you are committing a crime, I think people have a right to keep their accounts up on platforms. Twitter and Facebook are basically public services at this point. They owe all of their successes to us too, the users. And what do they go and do? They ban and delete people from their spaces for no reason. Well, actually, there is a pretty clear reason for this. Here, Twitter is banning people who are conservative and who speak out against liberals and Muslims. That's why they delete people's account history too. They don't want people to look into the tweets of all the banned accounts and find out they didn't really do anything wrong. And what is wrong anyway? I thought these internet forums were supposed to be free spaces to speak freely. This is America, and these companies started based on American principles of freedom of speech and expression. That was one once their guiding light, but I guess now it just used to be. I remember 10 years ago and you could get away with much more online. You could say anything to anyone, make fun of them, curse, or say offensive shit too. As long as you're not breaking a law, there's no problem. And it's not like these social media companies are the police anyway, but for some reason, it kind of feels like they think they are. It feels like these companies think they can act like the judge, jury, and executioner too. Except the trials on social media accounts, they aren't public. They aren't done out in the open like our criminal justice system. Maybe they should be though, because I could see a public information rule on this, on social media bans, possibly helping to keep them more honest. But alas, at some point in recent history, the overwhelming influences of Democrats and SJWs taking over all the tech companies in California, specifically Silicon Valley, well, recently, they've all been biased as shit. That's the real reason Laura Loomer got banned. She didn't commit a crime when she criticized Ilhan Omar. Loomer just committed the offense of being on the wrong side of the political aisle, according to the left in Silicon Valley. Next, let's finally turn to the protest itself. Laura Loomer handcuffed herself to Twitter's offices in New York early last Thursday, and soon enough, the girl who was banned from social media also became the top story and trendy topic all over it. Say what you want about Loomer and her out there over-the-top tendencies, well, despite that, she really did hit the nail on the head here. This is exactly the kind of stuff the term the Barbara Streisand effect is made for, except this time it's not a Jewish woman like Streisand trying to delete things from the internet to erase them in order to protect her image, which actually backfired on her and made people want those images more. But this time it's rather different. This time we got a major billion-dollar tech company, Twitter, and they're trying to delete a Jewish woman, Loomer, from the internet themselves. Amidst the chaos of her protests, Laura Loomer also blew up Luis Farrakhan's tweet calling Jews termites, and showed it side by side to the tweet that she was banned over, which we went over before here. And I think this is a stunning image. What a perfect representation of not only Twitter's hypocrisy, but also it shows where their bias leans. Hating on the Jews is okay with them, and you will get promoted and special blue check marks for it too. But criticizing Muslims by using embarrassing facts about their religion, and despite what you're saying being true, you're still banned for hate speech, which isn't even a real thing. Hate speech isn't real. It's not a crime. It's not a legal violation or even a misdemeanor at all. Hate speech is just an excuse for social media companies to have some reason to ban people they don't like. Next, let's take a look at the leader of Twitter himself. In this interview I found, Jack tries to say Twitter is a free space to speak in, but then in the same breath, he weasels out of that by saying they do ban people who violate their terms of service, aka people who say things they don't like and then they use the term of service against them.
Absolutely not. Twitter's always been about controls. People can follow whoever they want. And it's our job to make sure they see the most important things and the things that will matter to them.
So anybody can say anything on Twitter? The company does not go in there and take certain things out that can be dangerous?
Well, there's certainly tweets that promote violence, which is against our terms of service. And
so people can say what they want, unless Jack or one of his lawyers finds a way to throw the terms of service in their face. These contracts the social media companies have you agree to before joining are totally bogus though. They use these to cover their asses mostly, and sure they are necessary evils too, but in this case, Twitter is just using the terms of service as a scapegoat. Other companies do this too. They just blame their bad, unfair, offensive behavior on the terms of service. Sure, in this example Jack gives, he tries to make it sound reasonable by starting with threats of violence, making it sound like they have these rules to save someone's life or some other bullshit. They don't though. 99 times out of 100, the terms of service is used to oust Republicans, conservatives, or some kind of edgy comic or something. Just people who don't go along with liberal, PC norms. If there really were any, quote, threats of violence on Twitter, what makes the company think it's their job to deal with it? If the user actually broke a law, then notify the authorities and pass off this supposed threat to actual officials who are trained to identify and deal with them. I mean, I know I said this before, but let's be clear. If you're not in jail, you should be able to have a Twitter and say what you want on it. If you do go and break a law on the platform, it's not the job of the social media company to delete your account and your illegal activity from the space. That actually sounds like they're deleting evidence to me. Well, actually, we all know there's no real crimes here. Twitter and Jack are just pretending they are cops saving the day, when really they're the criminals stealing our freedom of speech. So I have to ask again, one more time, before we go, why ban people from social media sites anyway? What's the real goal here? I mean, I can understand if Twitter wants to delete nude pictures or a video of a crime or something. If Facebook needs to delete a convicted murderer's social media account, I can understand that. But even so, do we even need to delete criminals' accounts? If they were posts involving crime, sure, but I just really don't get this urge to ban and delete everything. I don't know. It's just become such common practice now and we all accept it, so that's why I wanted to step back here today and spell it all out for you. You already know what my stance is on banning. It's more akin to censoring and shutting down voices these companies don't like. It also has nothing to do with what is right or wrong, or protecting people. It's all about what the politics are of the liberals who run these companies in Silicon Valley. They are using their powers to silence opposition. And while this is terrible, unfair, and un-American, there is also a bright side. The left is showing how desperate, corrupt, and lacking in morals they really are. If it wasn't for the conservatives and Republicans winning and being right all the time, the left wouldn't be acting like spoiled little children like this. At least not as bad, but here we are. The left is clearly letting its politics get out of control, and it's infecting all the industries they dominate. For the worse, I might add. Social media companies aren't alone in doing this either. We've seen it in other companies in other videos, like with movies, TV, and music. They're all guilty of oversaturating their products with regressive, racist, SJW agendas. It's a messed up world we're living in, and it's certainly tricky being right-leaning nowadays. But at least we can be content with the fact that we know our country is doing well, great even, and will continue to do so with our Republican leadership, President Trump, for years to come, at least through 2024. What do you guys think? Should Laura Loomer have been banned from social media? Was her protest effective in getting the word out? And will Twitter ever fix its messed up liberal ways? Comment your thoughts on everything below. And also, quick note, in the next coming weeks, we're going to slow down production just a little bit. We're not going to stop videos or anything like that, just taking a few days off here and there. Probably going to reduce the videos to about 3 a week, maybe 1 or 2, depending on how things go. But don't worry, this short Christmas break won't last long, and we'll be back in January full steam ahead. Thanks for your patience and your viewership, and thanks again for watching today's episode. We'll see you all next time.